Hello. Before you get to your expected podcast, I want to tell you about Flip. It's the home of box set comedy from BBC Radio 4. Get whole series at once from the likes of Matt Berry, Sarah Kendall, Joe Lycett, and many more. Subscribe to Flip wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello, and thank you for downloading the Newsjack podcast. I'm Angela Barnes, and as ever, this is the show featuring sketches, one-liners, and transcendental shamanic prophecies, all supplied by you, the great British public. It's the first episode of a brand new series, so everything could have changed. Brexit might not be an issue. Donald Trump could have started treating women, or indeed anybody, with respect, and Kim Jong-un might have retired to open a small tea shop in the Cotswolds. But you can probably guess how things have turned out. Enjoy the show. Hello and welcome to a brand spanking new series of Newsjack. Your host, Angela Barnes, and this week I'm joined by Jason Forbes, Kiara Goldsmith and Kyle Smith-Bino. It's been a long, sweaty heat wave of a summer where Britain was as hot as Spain, but where sadly British people were still not as hot as Spanish people. So what else happened while we were away? In politics, Boris Johnson resigned his post as Foreign Secretary along with David Davis as Brexit Secretary following a pretty disastrous weekend at Chequers back in July. The cabinet had gathered together and for at least 45 minutes managed to lure Theresa May into believing they actually accepted her proposed Brexit strategy. Michael Gove, of course, was the first to stand up and pledge his support, proving the age-old saying, what is worse than nobody supporting you? Michael Gove supporting you. Because it rapidly went downhill after that for the Chequers plan. Boris described it as like polishing a turd, which I think we can agree by the look of him is better than rolling it in hay. The trouble with the Chequers plan is it's one that nobody really wants at heart. Many in the Tory party are fighting against it, mostly the Eurosceptics being led by Jacob Rees-Mogg, who I'm getting more convinced by the day isn't an actual person and is just the end stages of a secret government experiment to develop the world's most punchable face. The EU right now are like a bewildered architect on grand designs, while we're the deluded couple with no idea what we're doing, constantly submitting plans that are simply unworkable. Basically, we're going to end up with a worthless pile of rubble and living in a caravan. I almost feel sorry for Theresa May, because she can't win. All the plans she comes up with are doomed to fail. Even that one where she tried to run away to Africa to become a dancer. Who knew? Turns out it was true what George Michael said all along. Guilty feet really have got no rhythm. Former Brexit Minister Steve Baker has claimed that if the Prime Minister doesn't rethink her Chequers proposal, the Tories risk a catastrophic split. To which Labour responded, hold my beer. Because when it comes to unity right now, Labour make the Conservatives look like a synchronised swimming team. Yes, one would hope that the Labour Party is using this opportunity of Brexit chaos in government to, seize the opposition, maybe put forward a comprehensive Brexit strategy to really make use of the open goal presented to them. But, well, no. It's like Theresa May is playing her under-21B team in the FA Cup final and Jeremy Corbyn's turned up in elasticated plimsolls expecting a game of duck, duck, goose. Over the summer, the row over anti-Semitism in the Labour Party has raged on. A row that escalated when Labour's National Executive Committee stalled in adopting the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance's definition of anti-Semitism into its own code of conduct. Even Gordon Brown piped up to call for action on this. When Gordon Brown is stepping in to sort out a rift in the Labour Party, well, it's a bit like the wino outside Londis telling you to sort your life out. Then, veteran Labour MP Frank Field resigned the Labour whip, adding more fuel to the fire. In fact, the last time a Field gave a party leader that much attention, Theresa May was running through it. Are we really at a point now where, as a voter, you have to ask yourself, do I love Europe more than I hate anti-Semitism? Which is a strange question to be asking, especially out loud on a train. You know what? At what point do we just turn British politics off and turn it back on again? Well, not just British politics, because of course we should catch up on what our friend Donald Trump has been up to since we last met. Well, here goes. He held a summit with Kim Jong-un on an exotic tropical island because apparently supervillains have absolutely no originality. He held a summit with Vladimir Putin. I believe next on the list is Voldemort. He accused Google of deliberately fixing search results against him. He's threatened to withdraw from the Iran nuclear deal. It came to light that migrant children were being separated from their parents at the border and kept in cages. He referred to the European Union as a foe. He accused his own staff of treachery, called publicly for the termination of the Special Counsel investigation, called former advisor Omarosa a dog in a tweet. And you know what? It's just noise now, isn't it? I'm no longer shocked by anything he said. It's just white noise. I've gone Trump blind, which is an affliction Melania can only dream of. So that just about brings us up to date. And now we look to see what the next 6 weeks has in store for us. Well, according to EU Chief Negotiator Michel Barnier, he reckons we'll have an outline for Brexit in the next 6 to 8 weeks. How exciting to think that by the end of this series, we might know what Brexit means. I sometimes find myself wondering, what will we talk about when we're no longer talking about Brexit? And then I remember, we won't have time for talking, as all of our time will be taken up foraging for scraps and killing old people for their prescription penicillin. But for now, on with the show. Now it's time for some breaking news.
Kirsty Allsop has smashed her children's iPads, claiming they've received an intolerable amount of screen time. Channel 4 viewers say they know exactly what she means.
Swedish election ends in hung parliament. If there's one thing Swedes love, it's assembling cabinets.
In New Delhi this week, doctors removed a toy whistle that a 4-year-old boy had swallowed. His mother said she was greatly relieved as she thought that the kettle was broken.
Woman who gave birth on pizza shop floor was offered free garlic bread after delivery took over 30 minutes.
An Essex police officer is under investigation after sending a photo of his penis to a colleague. The special constable was identified by his helmet.
Now, I don't know about you, but I am sick to death of nuisance calls. Have you claimed for PPI? Had an accident at work that wasn't your fault? Angela, it's mum, it's my birthday. So annoying. Thankfully, a long-planned ban on nuisance calls has come into force this week. But who might be affected by tighter nuisance call regulations?
Bonjour, Chief EU Negotiator Michel Barnier.
Michelle, Teresa here, calling from the UK government. According to our records, you might be eligible for a fantastic low-cost trade deal.
I'm fed up of these nuisance calls from robot operators.
No, I'm not a robot, that's just my voice. Can I interest you in an enticing new contract with a thriving international partner?
This is the 10th call this week. Please remove me from your database.
Oh, come on, Teresa. You can do it. Pull up your big girl pants. Remember, you don't close a sale, you open a relationship.
Justin Trudeau speaking. Unless you're a woman, in which case, you speak first while I run you a bubble bath.
Justin, have you ever considered a long-term investment with a trading partner who can offer exciting... Ugh, I really thought I'd had that one. Ugh, believe in yourself. T-Dog, you're like Gordon Gekko, if he looked like an actual gecko. One more big sale and we'll call it a day. Oh, no one ever rings me. Hello?
Our records indicate that you may have been involved in an accident.
Oh, well, yes, I have. I suppose you'd call it a car crash. Speaking of which, while you're here, can I interest you in a fantastic trade opportunity?
You're breaking up. I'm going through a tunnel.
This week, Chuka Umunna claimed that centre-left MPs are being forced out of the Labour Party, urging Mr Corbyn to call off the dogs. John McDonnell's response? Our party members are not dogs. Well, thanks for the heads up, John. That'll save me a fortune on bonios for canvassers. But is this just McDonnell's new tactic to evade difficult questions by taking everything literally? Mr McDonnell, John.
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 Mr. McDonnell.
Mr.
John.
McDonnell,
Mr. McDonnell.
Care to talk about reported anti-Semitism in the Labour Party?
I beg your pardon? Labour Party? Labour Party? I hardly think this is a time for parties, do you? What with 1.36 million currently unemployed in this country alone, you think I should pop on a party hat and photocopy my arse? Bashing a piñata to Kingdom Come? You're a disgrace, man. A disgrace.
No, sir, you're being far too literal. What are you doing about anti-Semitism as the Shadow Chancellor?
I am not a shadow. No, I do not come and go with a passing light. I have the physical form of a Homo sapiens. And, can assure you, I am definitely flesh and blood. Never in my life have I been so affronted by...
Mr. McDonnell, Labour is being accused of systemic racism.
And who are you?
Nell Gibbs, Mail on Sunday.
How dare you? My mail never comes on a Sunday. And if any centrist Blairites have been telling you it does, then they're filthy liars hell-bent on defaming the post office.
They didn't mean...
Oh, so now I'm mean. Good heavens, the insults are really flying now. You might as well call me an ancient bastard and be done with it.
Just stop this, Mr. McDonnell. There are serious accusations that your party is structurally racist, but you're doing nothing to address them.
Look, OK. Some people have accused Labour of avoiding serious questions with rhetorical arguments. Some have even accused us of using smoke and mirrors. But to those people, I say... Smoke bomb, baby! You'll never catch me alive. Ha-ha, which one's the real John? Actually, it's pretty smoky in here. Really should have thought this through. Any of you right-wing dogs know where the exits are?
Boris Johnson has been marred by controversy yet again this week with news of his divorce, alleged affairs, and the revelations that the Tory party had compiled a dirty dossier on him entitled The War Book, which I imagine reads like a sort of Mills and Boon do horror. The question is, can anyone help him now?
From the creator of BBC One's The Bodyguard comes an explosive new drama, The Boris Guard.
OK, David, here's your first assignment. I've got my Winky stuck in a Chinese finger trap.
I've witnessed the horror of war. I've neutralised a terrorist threat. But nothing's been quite so distressing as reading the first drafts of Boris's Telegraph articles.
David Budd faces the biggest test of his career as he's tasked with protecting Boris Johnson from the one man hell-bent on destroying his reputation. Boris Johnson.
Four! You look like a fellow cad. What do you say? Let's round up a few fillies and give them a weapons-grade rutting. Oink, oink!
Damn it, Boris. They've leaked a sex dossier in an effort to stop you becoming PM. For the sake of your career, sir, you must stop bonking things.
Righto.
You're literally humping my left leg right now.
Shockwaves resonate through Westminster as Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson publishes a self-penned limerick book.
I once met a girl from China. There really was nobody finer. She'd put a ship in a bottle, then to quote Aristotle, fire ping-pong balls from her.
Boris!
With Johnson's behaviour getting increasingly erratic, his boss arrives to enforce damage limitation measures. Right, Bud! Where is that haunted blancmange?
Don't worry, PM. I've locked him in an empty cell. It's all under control.
Did you take his socks off?
No, ma'am.
What have I told you? Never leave Boris alone with anything that has a hole in it! New to BBC One, The Boris Guard, coming soon.
You bloody bet your neck as I am. Woof, woof!
Time now for some more breaking news.
In a final tribute to Burt Reynolds, the hearse carrying his coffin will be chased by 6 police cars at 100 miles per hour.
Carlsberg have decided to ditch their traditional plastic six-pack rings in favour of glue. Great news for turtles, bad news for horses.
British Airways' IT system has been hacked. The alarm was raised when luggage started being delivered on time and to the right place.
Middle-aged wine drinkers are urged to have 2 dry days a week. Then they can switch back to medium dry.
Scientists can detect areas of obesity using satellite imagery. A spokesperson said, "Your mama's so fat, she visible from space."
In health news, it's been revealed that people in middle age are more likely to drink to excess than any other age group. The survey showed that 1 in 5 people were drinking more than the recommended 14 units a week, while 4 in 5 were definitely lying. Luckily, BBC Three's Stacey Dooley is on hand to investigate.
OK, guys, this week I'm journeying into a shocking and sinister underworld, right? Inhabited by people who are hooked on homemade sloe gin and real ales called Speckled Hedge Nuts or Old Man's Wiggler. These are the middle-aged drinkers. My investigation, right, into this horrific middle-class subculture began at what many believe is the source of the problem. I went to the wine aisle in Waitrose and spoke to the manager.
Well, yeah, it can be a bit of a gateway. The middle-aged drinkers start here, but before you know it, they're on a train home from Sandra's leaving do with a mini bottle of Jacob's Creek and a double whopper, oversharing about how long it's been since they received cunnilingus.
Oh my God, it was well worse than I thought. We tracked one criminal gang to their illicit den of iniquity.
So, welcome to book club.
It's just a brilliant way to meet like-minded people and discuss interesting subversive literature.
While getting Merlot munted on a Tuesday.
If I was to get any answers, I had to speak to the top dog, the notorious woman who taught these middle-aged drinkers everything they knew, a woman simply known as Nana.
Oh, Christmas is best. I'll bosh back 3 bottles of sherry, call my daughter Baron, and then slag off my son's Japanese wife. And everyone says it's fine, she's had a few.
Nana was like a monster. But I knew there was something far scarier than the sickening world of middle-aged drinking.
I may be a functioning alcoholic, but I take great comfort from my 22-year-old son. I see him and I think, at least I'm not drinking coconut flaxseed kombucha protein water like that boring millennial cockwomble. Pint?
Abso-bloody-lutely. You don't win friends with quinoa.
Anglo-European relations have soured further this week, with a row over fishing rights in the Channel leading to skirmishes at sea between French and British fishermen. I heard the incident described on the news as clear piracy, so apparently they were flogging knockoff DVDs as well.
Son, what's that letter you're holding?
You might want to sit down, Ma.
No, it can't be. They wouldn't.
I've been called up.
No!
I've been conscripted to the Scallop Wars.
You can't go, son!
I can't just stand idly by while our brave lads are out there having their boats bumped into by a few other slightly smaller boats. This isn't about you. This isn't about me. This is about scallops.
Peter, please. Why do you care so much about scallops?
How dare you? What about when you want a vaguely exotic and overpriced starter once a year? That's scallops, that is. And what if you, I don't know, want a tacky shell-shaped ashtray to use once then leave in the attic? Scallops, Mom! If we can't get scallop shells, how will the mermaids cover their nipples? Think of the mermaid's nipples, Ma.
I know, Peter. I'm always thinking of mermaids' nipples. But it's not that. It's your father.
You know nothing of war. I was in the Clam Crusade of 42. How do you think I got these scars?
Pretending the shells were castanets?
Yes. I had to keep morale up somehow, didn't I? We'd only just got back from the Scampy skirmish of 36.
Scampy is no scallops, Dad, and you know it!
I was in the Cockle campaign. Some good men died bickering over your right to enjoy a small jar of vinegary fish gristle. I lost my left leg in the oyster offensive of 32. And my right leg in the escargot embargo of 31. You weren't there, boy. You weren't there.
I'm not you, Dad. I need to do this for all the great British scallop fishermen who came before me.
You go out there and gently nudge some French boats and come back with the sort of seafood product that you'd see in a shop and go, how much? And while you're gone on these godforsaken scallop wars, promise me you'll do one thing for me.
Anything, Ma.
Find out if you can eat that weird orange bit.
I will, Ma. I will.
Time now for even more breaking news.
President Donald Trump has vowed to expose the lies in Bob Woodward's explosive new book just as soon as someone finishes reading it to him.
The Girl Guides reassured parents concerned over its new partnership with the Army, stating that it will still award traditional badges for camping, helping the elderly, and conducting a covert operation in the Helmand province.
Thanks to a recent pay dispute, the Danish football team were forced to field a lineup including a salesman, a student, and an internet star. Could have been worse. In their last match, Scotland had to field 11 Scottish players.
Dogs are now banned from Wetherspoons for being unpredictable, a spokesperson said. They never order the same drink twice, can't remember their table numbers, and constantly ask for sausages even on curry club night.
Macedonia will host a referendum over changing its name. I, for one, look forward to welcoming Country McCountryface to the EU.
QI and Bake Off host Sandy Toksvig has spoken out about funny women being edited out of comedy panel shows. She said...
Members of Parliament and Cabinet Ministers are to get a free 24-hour hotline to help them deal with their problems. Questions are expected to range from what's Britain's target GDP to what is GDP to how do you spell GDP? But how will these hotlines sound in action?
Come on.
Hello?
Hi, yes, it's Karen Bradley. I've recently been appointed Northern Ireland Secretary.
I see, and how's that problem?
I don't know what a Northern Ireland is.
Yeah, I see. Don't worry, we get this all the time from you lot. So how to explain it? You know that bit of land to the left of Britain?
Canada.
Have you ever been to Ireland?
Duh, I'm on an island right now. I'm not stupid.
No, not an island. Ireland with R-E.
Religious education. I didn't know Ireland was religious.
Right, I mean, you might want to look that up. There'll probably be pressure on you to maintain the Good Friday Agreement.
Yeah, it's always tricky to know when Easter is. I mean, why do they keep moving it around?
No, it's not...
Remember the 5th of November, is that it?
That's bonfire night.
Right, and do they like bonfires in Northern Ireland?
How long you got?
Look, you're not helping. Anyway, moustache, West Ham won't sort itself out. Now, that is a tricky job.
Wait. That's Karen Brady? You're Karen Bradley.
So I am! Always getting that mixed up. I'm forever blowing bubbles.
Jamie Oliver was dubbed a hero this week after apprehending a burglar that tried to break into his home. Somewhat hypocritical, if you ask me, for a man who's made his living stealing Big Macs off 8-year-olds. But can you imagine trying to burgle Jamie Oliver?
Bosh! Caught red-handed, sunshine.
Step back, mate. You don't know what I'm capable of.
Jules! There's a fella down here trying to nick our top jewel quality grub.
No, mate, no. I want laptops, phones, valuables.
Laptops and phones? What a load of fish wobbles. That's the trouble with you lot. Always looking at your screens. Meanwhile, I've got a lovely bit of lean brisket sitting out on the counter. You ain't even touched it.
Yeah, right. I was more interested in the cash.
Cash? Eating healthy costs diddly squumps. Let Uncle Jamie help you. Here, come get a honking great whiff of these greens.
Look, I'm not being funny, mate, but I came here to rob you. I didn't really have time to cook.
Didn't have time to cook? Poppy coddle snuff, big flip-flap, stuffy woppy fizzy flip-flop.
Jamie, you're not even saying words anymore.
Yeah, I know. They're my kids' names. Now, let's move on to dessert.
Look, I'm just going to go, actually.
You can't leave. Swear the pack of butter on some lightly greggled jerk biscuits. Make sure they get the ripest little chunks you can. Then blam, here comes the sugar train.
Hello, police.
Yeah, I need some help. I'm trapped in Jamie Oliver's kitchen.
Now, have you ever got your Max Fac confused with your Maybot? Thought Novichok was an Aldi version of a Cornetto? Then let us help you to sort your Boris bikes from your Trump trades with our jargon-busting news glossary. It's our brand new feature, Newsjackopedia.
All strop when you smash your kids' iPads because you can't figure out the parental lock.
15 Love. How a tennis umpire tells Serena Williams she scored a point.
Back to school, when people take pictures of their beautiful front doors with children obscuring the design.
Massive fan. Someone who showed no prior interest in a recently deceased celebrity.
Boris Bikes, a network of bicycles distributed across London at hundreds of docking stations, or as they're now known, mistresses' houses.
We've come to the end of the show. You've been listening to Newsjack. Thank you very much and good night. Newsjack was hosted by Angela Barnes and starred Jason Forbes, Kiara Goldsmith and Kyle Smith-Bino. The script editors were Ed Amsden and Tom Coles. Anyone can submit to Newsjack. This week it was written by Simon Alcock, Elgin Evan Alderman, Joe Barnes, Joe Bradshaw, Catherine Brinkworth, Ben Clover, Josh Cluderet, Chris Douch, Freddie Farrell, Aidan Fitzmaurice, Indigo Hinton, John Jack, Dave Kingham, Dan Kiss, Kevin Latimer, Philip Lickley, David Lovesey, Cameron Loxdale, Laura Major, Conor O'Grady, Charlotte Pearson, Amber Phillips, Jack Redfern, John Rivers, Les Ross, Damien St. John, Andrew Stevenson, Andrew Stitt, John Taylor, Garth Thomas, Brian Tu, and Ella Woods. It was produced by Adnan Ahmed and Hayley Sterling. Newsjack is a BBC Studios production.